Okay, so let's practice these papers one by one. Let's go to expert set 1. So it's the same, zipped folder I've shared. Unzip the folder and you can start using it. So on the regional sales worksheet D3 to F7, we need to use the fill series feature to complete the sales projections using the linear growth of 500,000, 5 lakh per year. The easiest way to answer this is, as everything has 5 lakh difference, we can select the first 2 years and can directly use the series fill option, right? Just go to fill series and it shows the step value with 500,000 or 5 lakh directly and just click OK. Right? First question answered. Moving on to the next one. On the employee worksheet, cell C3, enter a formula that returns the office phone number from contact information. Understand that the contact information is a named range using the cell range, okay? And using an exact match for the region in the column. So to do that, we need to use lookup. Lookup value is the region name, comma, and select the contact information, which is the named range, comma, office phone number is in the third row, comma, as we need to use exact match, use false there, close it, enter. Right? This is how we need to answer the second one. And we have third one in the same sheet. From the employee worksheet, create a macro header, store the macro in the current workbook, configure the macro to display Southridge video in the left header cell of active worksheet. So to do that, let us create a macro. So you can go to developer. You can directly take, Visual Basic or create the macro, and the macro name is header. Okay. Select in this workbook. Okay. Make sure the spelling is correct. Header and create the macro. This will take us to a new module, and there we need to create a macro to show Southridge video in the left header cell. Let's copy this from here. Go back to the macro editor. So on the active sheet, right? The active sheet dot page setup dot left header is equal to, as it is a text content, you need to paste it in double quotes. So on the active sheet object, we are working with the page setup, and in page setup, we are using a left header. And if you want to check whether it's working fine or not, you can even play this macro, right? So that the left header will be updated on the active sheet. And if you go here to the, let's say the page layout, print titles, header, footer, and if you see the custom header, you see the left section header has been updated, right? This is how we need to answer this question. Whether you play the macro or you don't play the macro, the score will be given, okay? Just only for the testing purpose, you can execute the code and see that, okay? And moving on to the next one. This is about on the plan analysis worksheet, modify the pivot table to group the data by the values of this in the full package price, and group the values in steps of 100, beginning at 1 and ending at 200. So the grouping is possible on the dimensions if it is a number or a date. As we have the numbers, we can group them into, whatever the step that is there. So click on the group starting from 1, starting at 1 and ending at 200, and with the groups 100 each, and click OK. Yep. So this is how you can answer this question. So with that, the set 1 is over and I'm saving it. Okay. tell me this, why it is throwing this error? Correct. Yeah, so the point is XLSX format cannot store the macro. So you don't need to worry about in the examination. You just need to submit the project. So the point is the moment you submit the project in the backend, the evaluation will be done. Because
suppose if I do all the macros coding in XLSX format
and
I run, the process will be done, right?
Process will be done. Execution wise, you don't have any issue, but XLSX cannot store the macros.
But you can execute.
But you can execute. Yeah. So anyways, if you understood this, I no need to save this. I'll just close this without saving it, okay? Moving on to the second project. So this project has only one question. Configure Excel to automatically evaluate the formulas only when the workbook is saved and not each time the data changes. So nothing but whenever the calculations happen, if you do the data modifications, they are set to automatic calculation mode. As a result, the moment you change the data, the calculations will be updated automatically. But the requirement is to change the calculation mode. I would like to do it from here. Of course, directly from the formulas calculation, you can change it to manual. But I would like to show you where that the formulas are recalculated only when the workbook is saved. So let me show you how to do it. Go to File, More, Options, Formulas. Here we have this manual, and this is by default enabled only. Just in case if you don't want the recalculations happen when the workbook is saved, you can disable this. But as per the question, you need to leave it enabled only. Make sure you just select the manual calculation mode and click OK. That's it. Okay. So sometimes in the expert exam, you get a project with one question also. Okay. I'm not saving this. Moving on to the next project. Right, let's go to the first sheet. On the 1970 worksheet, change the data validation error message for cells I3 to I11. This is the one. And, we need to show that error message. Please enter a number from 1 to 50. So let's copy this message. So it's always recommended to copy it from the question itself. Do not try to type it, just in case if you type any spelling mistake, maybe the full score, you can't get it. So make sure you copy it. And you know this very well, right? In the examination interface, if you click on the text, right, which has that underline, when you click on the text, it gets copied to the clipboard. So you no need to select and copy also. Just click there, that gets copied. So just copy the text, and we need to change the data validation error message. So just select that, go to data validation. There is a data validation applied. It's just that you need to change the error message here. Just go here, keep it there. That's it. Paste it. You don't need to touch the rest of the things. The style and the title can remain same there. Click OK. That is how we need to answer the first question. The second one is 1970 worksheet in cell D3 to D11. Okay, we need to create a conditional formatting rule that uses our 3-color scale format style to display the minimum in yellow, midpoint in light green, and maximum in green. So for that, you know, right, the first step is select the range, go to conditional formatting. You can go to a new rule, and which one is it? Is it a 2 scale or 3 scale? 3 scale. Just select the 3 scale. The minimum should be yellow. So make sure, just hover the cursor, it shows the name of the color. If the name exactly matches, then take it. And the next one is light green. So if you just hover the cursor, yes, light green. And the next one is green. So just take this maximum. So minimum yellow, midpoint light green, maximum green. This is how we need to configure the conditional formatting. Moving on to the next one. On the 1970 worksheet, okay, of course, you are here in the 2010 1970 worksheet, column H, enter a formula that returns population for each state using the data from 2010 worksheet. So in column H, we need to write that formula using the state name. You need to fetch 2010 population. So let's get that. What is the formula? We lookup value is the state name, is the common value between 2010 and 1970. go here and can I select this? No, right? Why? Right, lookup value should be there in the first column. So either you can select this, including the headers, or only the data is also okay. But it's up to you, okay? So even if you want to select it from the header, should be fine. It is in the table format. And in the question, you may get the normal data also. If it is a normal data, as soon as you select any table array, what is it we need to do? We need to freeze it. In this case, I'm not going to do any freezing because I'm using, a table format. And which column the population is present? From the selected table array, it's there in the second. And we usually go with the exact match to fetch the values, right? Looks like Kolkata is not there in 2010 table. So that's okay. And moving on to the next question, this is about, working with a calculated field in the pivot table. On the population change worksheet in the pivot table, create a calculated field named change that displays the population increase from 1970 to 2000. So we need to get an additional column here, but that calculation to be done inside the pivot table itself. So any new field to be added, just go to the pivot table, select any cell on the pivot table analyze, and we have the calculated field, and the field name is given here, change. And how do we need to do the calculation between 2000 and 1970? So you just need to pick up 2000 population minus population 1970. Click OK. Just in case, if you want to show that on the pivot table, you can even just drag it here and show it in the last column position. Right? You can see something like this. If you add it or you don't add it, it's okay, because the ask is to just create that column, but it's up to you. If you want to show it also, nothing wrong, but you need to create it. So if you want to verify that column once again, you can go here and you can just go back to the calculated column. All the created columns are available in the same list. And if you select that, you can check this once again, okay? So just don't get confused, because 2010 is there, 2000 is there. As per the question, it is to do the difference between the 2000 and 1970. Okay, this is how we need to answer, right? Let's move on to the next project. So we are on the pricing worksheet. Configure Excel so that you can edit the content using Albanian as the editing language. So this is the language options available, right? Just go to File, Options, go to Language, and here it is the proofing and editing language. So add a language, check Albanian here, add, right? As soon as you click OK, you will get a message there. That is to basically, if you want to see that effect to take place, then you need to restart Office, but you no need to do that. During the examination, it is not recommended to close Excel window at all. So don't do that. Even it gives you a message like this, just discard the message and you can proceed to the next question, okay? The question is to just add Albanian language there as an editing language, and if it prompts you to close MS Office, you just ignore the message and proceed to the next question, okay? Don't close Excel. And the next one is on the pricing worksheet. On the same sheet, use an Excel feature to remove the duplicate records from the pricing range. The moment you see the word range with a name, you know that it's a named range. And if you go here and pick that up, and there is an option to remove the duplicates, right? In the data tab, remove the duplicates and simply click OK. And sometimes if it says only use the destination column to identify the duplicates, you may need to unselect everything and just select only the destination. But in this question, you can actually, go with all the columns as nothing is specifically mentioned there. Click OK, and if any duplicates are there, will be removed from the data. Right, and remember this, there is a difference between a named range and a normal range. So identify, whether the question is about working with a named range or normal range before doing any action. Moving on to the next one, on the client's worksheet, cell J4, here it is. Calculate the number of clients with a travel preference summer and the length of stay is more than 12 days. So we are looking for the number of clients, right? So if it is the number of clients, it is account if related, as we have two conditions, we need to go with count ifs. Anything more than one, you need to go with IFS function. So the first criteria is the travel preference should be summer. As you know that it is a text content, we need to write in double quotes. And the second one is the length of the stay should be more than 12. As greater than 12, that is coming with a special character. Greater than, you need to use double quotes for that as well. So the ones who are meeting both the conditions, there are only two clients with summer and more than 12 stay, right? More than 12 days of stay. Moving on to the next one. On the office expansion worksheet in cell B7, this is the one. Use a function to calculate the number of months needed to pay the loan. So this is the number of periods function n per rate is this. And as you know, this question is about months and the rate is given at annual, right? Per annum. So you need to multiply that with the payments per year with this so that I can, now is it a multiplication or a division? Right. So I want to convert that into monthly payment. So I need to divide that and the payment is this and the principal value is this, or the present value is this, okay? So you need 120 months to pay 125,000 with a 5.5 interest rate, and per month, if you make a 1,356.58. That's how we need to answer this question. And moving on to the next one. On the marketing worksheet, create a funnel chart that displays June marketing campaign data with descriptions on the left-hand side of the chart. Change the chart name to June results. So I'll do one thing. I'll just copy that name. Select description, hold control, select June, and we need to insert. It's recommended to, go with this recommended charts. It shows if, funnel is already there. If you want to do it from the list of charts, yes, funnel is here. And from here also you can choose it. But the thing is, as recommended charts already got this funnel chart, you can directly take it from there. And you need to change the chart name here. So go to the name box, give the name as June results. The other thing is the size and the position of the chart doesn't really matter. So it's up to you where you want to keep it, okay? But just in case, if there is any note that clearly shows that you need to keep the funnel chart below the data with certain dimensions, you need to change it. But otherwise, it's okay, right? That's how we need to answer this. And we don't have any question here. That's how the set 4 we need to answer. Moving on to the next one. On the profit analysis worksheet, we are currently on that. Create a chart that displays the salary for each instructor as an area and the revenue generated as a line on the same axis. So charts have both primary axis and secondary axis. As per the question, we just need to use the primary axis only, but we need to use two things there. One is area, the other one is the line chart, right? So for that, we again can go with the recommended chart. Just in case if it is not present, then yes, as it is asking for two different types of charts in one. So that is a job of a combo, right? So the salary should be area chart. So salary, it's showing clustered one, right? So you need to choose area. And we also have the other types of, area chart stacked and 100% stacked. Let's not, get confused with that. We need to use area there. And the second one is revenue generated as line. So it's already line chart there. And also just take a look at this. If your question, shows the revenue generated should be there on the secondary axis, you need to enable this, but actually it's not needed. So salary and revenue generated, both of them should be there on the same axis. Salary with area chart and revenue generated is with line chart, and click OK. Right? Again, the size and the position of the chart, they do not matter. It's up to you, unless it is specifically mentioned in the question. Moving on to the next one. On the workday analysis worksheet, modify the chart to use layout 3, style 4, chart colors to monochromatic palette 6 and the chart title to lesson revenue. I'll do one thing. I'll just quickly fix the chart title. Go there, select the chart title, paste it. Okay, just paste that. And the next one is change the layout. So go to the chart design. The layout is 3, 1, 2, 3. Just hover the cursor, it shows the name layout 3. And style 4, chart styles are here 1, 2, 3, 4. Just hover the cursor, it shows style 4. Just take that. And the colors, you just need to go here. You have colorful and monochromatic, and that is palette 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So hover the cursor, it shows the number. That's how we need to answer this question. And moving on to the next one. Modify the conditional formatting rule applied to B2 to B10. So this is the range on the sheet, and we need to modify that to change the, it applies to the bold italic font and no fill color. So bold italic font and no fill color, any place if you have, every day as a text content. So as it is a question about modifying the existing rules, so do not create any new rule. You need to go to manage rules. You will definitely find that rule and just click on edit rule to modify this. And the format should be, the question is about making bold italic font with no fill. So in that we have the option here, bold italic font, right? The font we have changed, and coming to the fill, we need to choose no fill, click OK, apply, OK, that's it. So wherever every day is there, we made it like bold and italic together, and also there is no fill. So this is about modifying an existing rule. Do not create any new rule. Moving on to the next question. On the hours worksheet, currently we are there in B12 cell. Here it is. Use a function to calculate the weekday the school begins. Okay. So you just need to use the weekday function and select this. And close this. You see that it by default shows this as, with the DDD format there because it's already there in the custom format. Okay. And the next one is configure Excel to disable all macros in the workbook without a notification. That is part of the developer tab. Just in case in your system, the developer tab is not there, you know how to enable it, right? Just do a right click, customize the ribbon, and you have it here. Just in case, if you do not find the developer tab, do a right click, customize the ribbon, enable the developer tab, click OK, and go to the developer tab, macro security. The very first option, if you observe here, this is to disable all macros, in the workbook without the notification. The first option, disable VBA macros without notification. Click OK. Moving on to the next question. So the question is here, use the data subtotal feature to calculate total number of lessons and due by instructor. Display the total lessons and total due for all instructions. Yeah, all instructors below the data. So the subtotal can be presented above the data or below the data. So as per the question, below the data, and below the data is by default feature also. If necessary, you need to sort the data, right? And basically we are looking for this grouping to be done by the instructor. You need to take a look at the instructor column first. And is it sorted properly? No, it's there in different places. So recommendation is to sort the instructor first. One thing is you can go to data, and from there you can use a sort feature directly here just by keeping the cursor on the header. Otherwise, you just can say that sort the data by the instructor using this advanced sort feature, okay, or custom sorting feature. And you want to arrange it in ascending order A to Z. Now all the instructors, yes, as per their names, we were we were able to arrange them. And after that, we need to apply the subtotal feature on this data. You don't need to select the data, just keep the cursor in one place. Just go to outline, and there you have the subtotal. And in the subtotal, you need to read the question carefully because the subtotal can be done at different groups using different functions. So it is about calculate the total number of lessons, total, which means it is sum. right? Total number of lessons and total due by the instructor. So that means the subtotal should be done by the instructor using the sum to get total number of lessons and due. So we need to use these two. And by default, the subtotal comes below the data only. If you uncheck that, the summary will come above the data. But as per the question, we need to leave it below the data only. So you need to make it, keep it enabled only. Just click OK. That's it. The subtotal is ready by the instructor, right? So while choosing that function, you need to check here, is it asking for an average or a total or a count? If it shows total, understand that it's about the sum, and whatever it shows as by, right? That is where you want to see it as a category. And as we want to make it as one group, make sure you sort that column first. But otherwise, it will create multiple groups, right? So that's how we need to answer the subtotal question. Moving on to the next one. On the invoice type worksheet, insert a slicer that allows you to filter pivot table by invoice type. So there is a filter feature available, which is a slicer. We need to insert a slicer, and the slicer name should be the invoice type. Just click OK. And inside this invoice type, use a slicer to display the records only, with the invoice type maintenance. So just select that maintenance. That's it. Inserting slicer is one step, and selecting maintenance from the invoice type is the second step. So you need to perform both of them. Inserting slicer won't give you the full score. You also need to filter the data using the slicer. That's how we need to answer this. And moving on to the next one, group multiple questions are there. On the invoices worksheet, yeah, in cell K3, enter a formula that returns average total invoice amount for all the invoices with the engine type diesel and an invoice type accident. So average with multiple conditions. Formula, please. Average ifs. Average ifs, we need to find out the total invoice value using the criteria range 1. Engine type should be diesel, and the invoice type should be accident, right? That is what the answer is. Configure Excel to disable all macros in the workbook without the notification just before this project. We have seen that already. Require that users enter a password 123 before they can make any structural changes to the workbook. Structural changes to the workbook is nothing but inserting a new sheet, deleting a sheet, renaming the sheet, or changing the position of the sheet is part of the structure of the workbook. If we want to control that, and users need to enter the password to do all that, then it's going to be part of review tab, protect workbook, and protect the structure of the workbook with the password 123. Confirm the password 123 so that any user who wants to do the modifications, you see this in terms of the structure, moving the data, moving the sheet or renaming, deleting the sheets, not allowed. Okay, so is here. And on the, that's how we need to answer this. On the invoices worksheet, on the same worksheet, use error checking feature to locate the formula, okay, that is inconsistent, right? And correct that. And it's very easy to fix any, any inconsistent formula. You can easily find that out. You see this, a green color mark, something is wrong there in this, right? But as per the question, use a feature. Which one is it? The error checking feature. Just click here and it takes you to that cell. You see that it has highlighted this. And what is it saying? Restore the calculated formula. So it looks like the formula is missing there. So just say restore, and so that the above formula will be copied down. And all the errors have been fixed. Now it looks good. So that is how we need to answer the question. Whenever any error related question comes, you can use this error checking feature. Okay. So I'm closing this without saving, moving on to the next project. Okay, so here on the conference worksheet, yes, we are there. Registration end date column. Okay, this is the column. Use a function to display the registration end date 35 working days before the conference start date in column E. So we need to do a subtraction from here, from the conference start date to close the registrations. Okay, so if you do a minus 35 like this, which is incorrect. Why? Because 35, when you try to subtract, what it does, it only subtracts the calendar days. But what is our requirement? We need to, subtract the work days. So we have a formula work day. Start date is this, comma. As you want to go backwards 35 days, you need to use minus 35. And we no need to consider the optional argument, which is the holidays, and just minus 35. And as the format is not there in the date format, right, you just need to change this to the date so that you will see the registration end date. Exactly 35 working days before the conference start date. That's how you need to answer this. Moving on to the next one. On the royalty due, this one, calculate the royalty dues per due to each other, okay? Modify the existing royalty due formula to return the amount if it is greater than 225,000, otherwise return 0. So if you look at this, there are a few royalty dues and a few are more than 225,000 and others are like.
That column also we should calculate.
So in the question also, the calculation is already there. On top of this question, formula, we need to write the formula to control. If this value, how much is this value? 270,000. So is it qualified? Yes, it is. Then we'll write the formula like this, copy that. If, open bracket, if this particular value is coming greater than 225,000, then show us the same value, whatever the calculation that we are doing. Otherwise, 0. Okay, so this is how we need to answer this. So this is if function only, but we need to modify the existing formula. So there is a formula, it is directly doing the calculation, but we want to show the result only if it is more than 225,000, otherwise no. Moving on to the next one. On the sales worksheet, modify the pivot table to display the title ID rows within each region. Probably for this, I'll just move the question to the right hand side. I'll tell you why. If you include the title ID row, so title ID, and you want to keep it inside each region, so for each region, it will show the title ID there. So you may find an issue if you are directly attempting the question without moving this question there. So just insert or just include the title ID right below the region so that you will see the title ID within each region. This is how you need to answer this. Okay. Moving on to the next one. On the analysis worksheet, add the title ID field as a pivot chart filter, right? So when you select the pivot chart, the field list will come. Just in case if the field list is not coming, you know that how to bring it, right? So just right click on the chart and you can show that. And the title ID should be there in the filter. Yes, we got the filter. And also use only just CO08. So to be filtered there. So just select only that. Okay. So currently we are seeing only CO08 and you can see that result here in the pivot table. Okay. But otherwise you can open the filter on the chart and you can see that CO08. Okay. This is how you need to answer this question. Moving on to the next set. On the 2019 worksheet, modify the conditional formatting rule to format rows that have sales greater than 1,000. So let's check. There is already a rule running on the sales column. Go to the conditional formatting as the rule existing there. You just need to go to manage rules and you look at this condition. It is checking greater than 500, but as per the question, we need to change it to 1,000, right? You don't need to change the colors and all, only the rule to be changed, right? It's just that greater than 1,000. That's it. Wherever the value is greater than 1,000 will be highlighted. And moving on to the next one. On 2020 sheet, change the chart title to total sales. Recommendation is, to copy paste, but otherwise you can type it also, and change the bin width as 1000. So I can do a right click, format access. The bin width is currently showing 2200, but you just change it to 1000. Okay, that's how you need to answer this question. So set 8 is done. You got only 2 questions there. Moving on to the last one. This has got a good number of questions. Let's do step by step, one by one. Okay, on the new titles worksheet, we are currently there, E4 to E10. This is the range. Create and apply custom number format. This is about a number format, nothing but using the format cells we can do it. Displays the dates in YY, MM, DD format. So hit Control 1, you can do it, or you can just do a right click and format cells. Go to the custom and put YY, MM, DD. This is a format that we need to create there. Okay, it is a custom format. Moving on to the next one, an error on the retail worksheet was previously ignored. You need to configure and use error checking to find and correct the error. So in the previous, error, question, it was highlighted with that error mark, green color mark on the left top corner. But here it was ignored. As a result, you cannot see anything here. And even if you try to check using the error checking, it says, nothing is there. But actually you can reset that error once again by going into the file, options, formulas, reset the ignored errors, click OK. Now you will see an error here, right? And if you want to fix this, just go here, error checking. Yes, there is an error. Copy the formula from above because it looks like there is something wrong with that, the way it was calculated. So that's the reason it has identified some inconsistency there. So that's how we need to answer this. And moving on to the next one, the volunteer analysis chart displays the number of volunteer hours per year. Expand the field on the chart to display the number of volunteers hours for each month. So it is currently showing at yearly level. And if you look at this, we have year and month, both of them are there in the axis. If you click on this plus icon, you will see month. And the question may be about, there may be a quarter level also inside the year, quarter and month. If the question asks you to show month level, then you need to click this button for a couple of times until you reach that month. Okay. So here we have only year and as well as month. So you just need to expand and collapse, right? It depends on the requirement. So as it is asking you to show it by the year, by the month, you just click on this plus symbol once. So year and month, both of them are available now. That's how we need to answer. Adjust the formula and then copy. Okay, so looks like F5 to F20 has got a major issue there in your question. It may be something different, but you can easily figure that out. The total salary, it's supposed to be a plus symbol between this, but we have here a multiplication. Then write the formula, fix the first formula and drag it down so that all the other values are accurately coming there. That is how we need to fix it. But in the main exam, it may be about, controlling the brackets, right? It uses the BODMAS rule, right? So there's something, they create some incorrect formula. You just need to look into the formula and fix that issue. Moving on to the next one. This is about consolidate feature. We are currently in the summary sheet and A5 cell. We need to consolidate the data from 2017 by region, 18 by region. And we need to do what? Average number of recreation visits for each region. Use the labels in both top row and left column. So just be careful while applying this consolidate feature. So the way we do it is go to A5 cell because we want to perform the data consolidation there. Go to data. There is something called consolidate and average is what we need to apply. By default, it shows sum there in your question. Okay. You just need to change it to average and the reference is coming from 2017, this range. Add that, and 2018 also, fortunately, we have the same range with the same dimensions. You no need to select again, but if you want, you can select again once again. add that, and as per the question, use the labels in the top row and left column. And with that, consolidation is done. However, we have to perform one more step. Delete the blank park name. This is the column. We need to delete it from the consolidated data. Just do a right click. You can say delete and shift cells left. You may want to attempt a control minus to delete it, but in the examination interface, it may not work as expected because control plus and minus is to zoom in and zoom out the examination interface. So the recommendation is do the right click and delete it. Moving on to the next one. On the Van Arsdale Limited worksheet, to write the formula to calculate the average total sales for region North and representative ID equal to 2 in L1. We need to do the average ifs because we are looking at the region, region and as well as the representative ID in L1 range. So let us write the average ifs. We need to find out the total sales, comma, that's our average range. Region should be North, representative ID should be 2. Right? That's how we need to answer this. Just in case if you come across any error, division by 0 error or any other kind of an error, make sure you delete the formula, rewrite it, something went wrong. That's the reason, you would have found that error. So please make sure you delete it and rewrite it again. Usually in examination questions, there won't be any situation the formula returns an error, a division by 0 error or a reference error, something like that. But if you are getting that error, something is wrong in your formula. Okay, please make sure you check the sheet name where you are trying to apply that formula. Okay. Moving on to the next one. On the popular video sheet, we are there for cell C2 to B2 to C13, these two. We need to apply the conditional formatting rule that displays the 5 lowest values in the bold, dark red font. So select the range as a first step in conditional formatting. Go to conditional formatting. As it is asking for the 5 lowest values, we need to use the top bottom rules. Bottom 5, we need to use a custom font format that shows the font with bold dark red. So select the bold font and dark red. So there is a difference between red and dark red. So don't get confused again. Make sure you select only the dark red and click OK. And click OK. That's it. Last one on the employee worksheet in cell E4. Here. Use one or more lookup and reference functions to return the employee's bonus from the years of service bonus table. So basically using this table, we need to fetch the bonus amount using the experience, okay? Because experience is a common key between them, right? So use a VLOOKUP. Lookup value is the experience and the table array is this. And because it is a table array, what is that we do? We freeze it and the bonus is there in the second column. And coming to this approximate match and exact match, you need to be careful here. If I go with false, which is exact match, what it does, it searches for 5. But do we have 5 in this table? We don't have 5. We have 0, 3 and all. So understand that whenever you are working with a number range like this, so 5 should get what? Because it is falling within this range between 3 and 6. So that means it is 3 years of service bonus applicable for 5. So you need to use true. When you use true, what does it do? It uses the approximate match. What is approximate match? If the lookup value is 5, it initially, starts searching with 5. But 5 is not there and it starts searching in the reverse direction. So it searches for 4, it's not there. It searches for 3, yes, it is there. What is 3 value? 2000. So that's how you get it. Once you get it, just drag it down. So usually we go with an exact match in VLOOKUP, but in this question, as we are working with the number range and all the numbers are not present in the table array, you need to go with approximate match to fetch the value. That's how you need to answer this. I'm not saving this workbook. I'll close this. So I think it could be because in the examination, it's in table format. Yeah, it could be there in table format. So if you write the formula in E4, anyways, once you hit enter, it will be dragged down. But I'll tell you one more thing. Dragging the formula, if it is a blank cell or a blank column, it's okay. But if you have any other values in between, unless it is clearly asked, like please drag down the formula from E4 to E13, okay? If it is there, great, you can do it. But if it is not asked, I don't recommend to write it, okay? Drag it down. So write the formula in only one cell. So I'm very much sure, I think in the examination, it's in the table format. So if you write the formula in E4, it will be automatically dragged down, because the tables, the formulas, when you write using the structural references, they drag down till the end of the table. Right, so that's how we need to answer this question. I'm not saving this file, close the file, right?